Most of the Obedients, I would say that a bigger percentage of them are youths and may not have been exposed to this kind of orientation essentially. You are a sociologist. You understand human disposition and inclination to interactions. We cannot deny the despair of these dispirited youths arising from these 2023 elections. What should these youths be looking forward to, and what plausible activities should keep them afloat, considering the expedient politics ahead of them?
Leadership is key. Leadership. If the masses are left without leadership, it is dangerous. There is not mere apathy, a deliberate effort to disorient people and let them into avenues into thought processes and actions that are not conducive to the development of this country, including the elite, not even only the youth, including some of the intellectual elites. This government that we are seeing today, that is in place today, is leading Nigeria into what I may call political Abilene, the Abilene paradox, whereby rational, intelligent gentlemen are all moving like sheep in one direction without properly analyzing. And because of the psychological phenomenon of groupthink, as identified by the Yale psychologist Jamin, groupthink that constrains people to think in a particular direction, where mind guards, just like putting you in a mental cage, and people are moving like sheep, even with highly intelligent people. That's the direction in which Nigeria is moving. There must be a moral force. There must be a counter force, where people can see that this is not the way. This is what is missing today in Nigeria. The people cannot mobilize, that is, the masses cannot be expected to mobilize themselves. That is a function of leadership. And I think that this is the critical role that the leadership of the Obidient movement has to make, not even the Labour Party. Because I'm one of those who believe that Labour Party as it stands cannot lead until it is reorganized to infuse fresh blood, to infuse actual, revolutionary blood, to understand the urgency of the situation. Because a lot of the officers, with all due respect, that constitute the Labour Party at present were elected years back and belong almost to the same category as their counterparts in other political parties. And one of our most brilliant minds, or brilliant candidates in the last election at Bayelsa, Mr. Udense Radiri, complained that the chairman of the Labour Party in Bayelsa State was induced with 100 million naira to abandon the party. The Obidient movement needs a new leadership that will reinvigorate the party. During our own time, activities were scheduled. There are scheduled activities. Scheduled activities. There is no question of you lying low and you don't know what is going to happen next. You know that in the next 3 months there is going to be a meeting. You know that in the next 6 months there is going to be a zonal meeting. You know that in the next 1 year there is going to... You have a plan of action to mobilize the people. The Labour Party and the LP have no means of, apart from the social media. Unlike their counterparts that control, unlike the other parties that control state television stations, national radio and television stations. APC, the leader of the APC, is one of the biggest controller of the media houses in this part of the world. And I would have liked to suggest that the Labour Party needs a formal medium, such as a radio station, both national and international, so where youth can tune in and get information, where people can tune in and get information. So I think that this gap should be filled urgently by the leadership of the Obidient movement and the Labour Party in order to hold together and further inspire those who produced this wonderful achievement in February and March 2023.
In practical terms, let's not overlook the fact that the Labour Party has achieved an unprecedented feat in this election. Where you were before this election and where you are now are miles and worlds apart. Burgeoning number of representatives in the National Assembly, a modest number of representatives in the state houses of assembly. The Labour Party has a control of states and the sitting governor. As an ardent believer in organized political leadership, what would be your advice, and how much of impact, or what would be the outlook if these elected representatives and the governor bind together, show purposeful and organized leadership?
It will make a great impact, no doubt. We don't really need, you need a very strong nucleus, a very strong base from which ideas and influences flow. And this is what is lacking. And I wouldn't say I'm discouraged, but I'm not particularly impressed. I've not had that fiery spirit so far. I've not had it so far from the members of the National Assembly, LP members in the National Assembly. I've not had a single word that presents the Labour Party point of view. I may be wrong, but I've not had one in the National Assembly. I know that the leadership of the APC and even the PDP as the major opposition party might be making systematic and deliberate effort to suppress the Labour Party voice. But I think that based on parliamentary privilege and parliamentary practice, each member has the opportunity to speak, though when recognized by the speaker. I have not seen such evidence. In fact, I won't say I'm disappointed. During the controversy over the 160 million SUV vehicles, I do not see positive comment in terms of that aligns with the philosophy of the Labour Party, egalitarian philosophy that wants to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor in Nigeria. And I pin this down still to leadership. If there is an LP caucus in the National Assembly, and if that caucus is in sync with a focused leadership of the Labour Party, I think because most of these members were just drawn, I would say by accident, to join the Labour Party. Some of them might not really be in sync with the philosophy of Mr. P2B. This is the time to build that base. And the National Assembly is the right place to build it, in my view. So I won't go as far as criticizing them, but I think they should do more in popularizing and pushing forward the philosophy, the political philosophy of the Labour Party. So far, it has not been done at the national level. But from all I have heard and read about Dr. Alex Oti in Abia State, I think I'm proud of him. And I think he's doing a marvelous job in turning the direction of government and of the society to a more egalitarian and productive society, because that is the bane of governments in Nigeria today, as I see it.
On an interesting note, the Obedience and the Structured Labour Party has not shown encouraging cohesion and sync. You now have elected representatives and a sitting governor, but I do not think that the Obedience and the Structured Labour Party are their best in terms of harmony. It is expected that we begin to see transformation and purpose. Let me say the dominant political party today, the APC, wasn't having this much elected members when they began their onslaught after the 2003 elections. From your experience with the UPN, what mindset should be at play to make Labour Party flourish and deliver on expectations?
When you say the mindset of people, the people are not just staying in one place as people. The people are dispersed and going about their various businesses. They need to be coordinated. Unlike what happened just prior to the election when the people engaged in self-mobilization. That is over. As at now, it is the, I've emphasized this, I hope I'm not overemphasizing it. It is the duty of leadership to coordinate and bring, forward, bring the people together and give them a sense of direction. The masses cannot organize themselves, unlike what happened during the election, and unlike what happened maybe during the NSAS movement, when the youth organized, and when they said there was no leadership. In a political party, there must be leadership. There must be a strong organizational structure of immense power from which directives flow. You cannot underestimate it. So if we're expecting that all the market women, all the youth in the universities, this and everybody going about this mess will organize themselves without the leadership of the party, it may be expecting too much from the masses. So I want to say once again that, you see, the structure of parties in Nigeria is such that, like Delta State, you cannot begin to organize on your own without the national. A local government cannot begin to organize without the state, because the flow of authority is from the national to the state and to the local and wards. So the wards cannot take the initiative to start telling the state and national what to do, but you can make suggestions. So we are saying that the delay, the silence of national leadership is dangerous, and action should be taken to continue to galvanize and bring together this immense force that exists among the masses that is waiting to be coordinated to achieve a particular objective for the good of Nigeria. That's what we're saying.
On the sidelines, there have been calls from some quarters, especially from the ruling party, and even from the presidency, pressuring Mr. Peter Obi to take a cue from President George Weah of Liberia and former President of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan, concede defeat and congratulate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What is your view on this? Do you not see this as a way to go?
That does not arise. The court, the Supreme Court has already declared that Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of Nigeria, and nobody is disputing that. Now, most Nigerians know what happened during the election. Most Nigerians are aware of what happened in Port Harcourt, the votes of Mr. Peter Obi and Labour Party were cleaned up and added to APC. Most Nigerians are aware of what happened in Lagos State, in Plateau State, in Nasarawa State. These people have not apologized for their perfidy. These people are pretending that everything is okay in Nigeria. Everything is not okay. And I want to tell you this. If the problems of a country or the social problems of a country are amenable to legislation or to judicial pronouncements, there will be no problems left in the world. The pronouncement of the Supreme Court has compounded Nigeria's problem. And die-hard Obedience will not support Peter Obi congratulating a group of people that trampled on the electoral the sacrosanct of the electoral process in this country. That nobody is disputing that the Supreme Court has declared him winner. But for me, and those that I have known, I will not support a situation where Mr. Peter Obi goes dangling all around, dancing around those who are destroying this country with sycophancy and double standards. After rigging election, you come and start using sweet words, trying to cover up. Yar'Adua was more honest. Late President Yar'Adua. Nobody asked him to step down. He said, I know that the election that brought me to power was flawed. He's a human being. That's what is human. And he took action to appoint the Ways Committee to look into, if not that he died, I believe he would have done it. That is what we need. We need somebody who is human, who speaks to facts. If he says, oh, please, gentlemen, I know the election is flawed, let's leave it, let's move ahead. He has not said that. Why should people be going to run around and support a system that is bringing Nigeria to its knees? It means you are supporting it.
Well, it's always an interesting atmosphere having this interaction with you, Chris Biose. Immeasurable thanks for giving us your time. And let's do this.
I really appreciate you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.